Alright, so AEW Wrestledream was last night, and I am here to give my full review on how I felt about every single match on the card. Let's get into it. Kicking it off with FTR versus Jet Speed because I did not care for pretty much any of the matches that are happening on the Saturday Night Tailgate Brawl. If you saw the video I just posted on Mercedes Monet, I said in that video with Will and Nightingale that I do not care about any of these matches because they do nothing for anybody that are competing. But FTR versus Jet Speed, that match was on the Saturday Night Tailgate Brawl, and it was still going on while the main show started. In fact, Pyro was going off while those two tag teams were just brawling, which I actually found quite funny. But since the fact that the match made it to the main show, I have to technically count it. But overall, I thought it was a really solid tag team match. I thought it did what it had to do for both tag teams. Did very well. FTR gained the win. I do think the tag team titles are next in line for them. They'll probably become like the 4-time history-making tag team champions. Or 3-time. How many times? I can't really tell how many times they held the belt. You know what I mean. But like, yeah. Next up, we had Jamie Hayter versus Tekla, which I didn't really know the stipulation that everyone was banned from ringside. I didn't know that until literally like an hour or so before the show. So one of the predictions that I had in one of the servers I'm in on Discord didn't really count because of it. But I thought it was a good match as well. This feud's been boiling for months, so at least it was good to see that. Jamie Hayter got the win. I actually thought they were going to give the win to Tekla and continue the momentum she has, but no, they actually gave it to Jamie Hayter, and I'm not mad about it. I like Jamie Hayter. I just wish she was booked a lot better from AEW, and hopefully there's a chance for them to add more stock to her value when it comes to the women's division. Next up, we had Jurassic Express versus the Young Bucks in a 500K tag team match, which this to me was my match of the night. I absolutely love this match. It's very, very good. These two tag teams absolutely deliver like they always do. And yeah, I hate the Young Bucks just as much as the next person, but I can't deny them in the ring. I just hate their characters and what they did. Well, not the characters they have now. I actually find the broke gimmick character they have right now pretty funny. But the EVP role, I hate it so much. But Jurassic Express would get the win. The Young Bucks would get up from the loss they had with Jurassic Express trying to shake their hand, but the Dolan Callis family would attack Jurassic Express from behind, and it looked like they wanted to have the Young Bucks help them out, but they refused and walked out. And then Kenny Omega told the Young Bucks to go help him out to take out the Dolan Callis family, and they didn't do that either. It feels like either the Young Bucks are going to turn face, or they're just going to turn into flat-out crash-outs. Let's see how it goes on Dynamite. Next up, we have the Hurt Syndicate versus the Demand, which, if y'all saw the video I had a few days ago about AEW Dynamite and Collision, I didn't really care much for these two trios going at it again, because to me, the street fight at Title Tuesday should have been their last encounter together. But whatever, this was a fun match, and they added the stipulation where the winner would challenge for the trios titles, so at least there was actually on the line, instead of it just being another random trios match with nothing at stake. So at least that's something. The Hurt Syndicate got the win. I knew they were going to win because the Demand won at the last AEW pay-per-view. Good for them. I do think they'll win the trios titles. I do think they actually will defeat the Ops for the championships. But let's see how that goes on Dynamite again. Then we had Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe in an amazing TNT title match. They definitely deliver like they always do because they're both great performers and they always know how to have great matches. Kyle Fletcher continues to be one of my favorite acts in all of AEW. And yeah, if you've been on this page, you know how I feel about the Don Callis family. But like I've always said, Kyle Fletcher, Konosuke Keshito, Khan, and even Henchicero, they're the guys that I lean towards the most. Especially Kyle Fletcher. He's my favorite out of all of them that are in the group. I just find him just absolutely talented in the ring. And I can't wait to see what's next for him because he retained his title. But now leads the question, what's next for Mark Briscoe? Because Mark Briscoe just had a feud against MJF and he lost. No, he won the feud and he just lost tonight. So is this going to be anything bigger for him, or is it just going to be us continuing to see him go down this path of like him having the big moment but still not being able to achieve it? we'll have to wait and see. Next up was Chris Statlander versus Tony Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship, which I thought was another very good match between these two women. I'm glad Chris Statlander's finally getting the respect that she deserves, because I was sick and tired of her just being just completely just losing match after match for months ever since the start of 2025. It was just really getting annoying, and it was just really pissing me off, because she deserved far more than just being a woman who just been spoon fed to women like Mercedes Moné or just Megan Bayne. It was just ridiculous. So thankfully she is in a good spot, and thankfully she has a title that she's been trying to get for so long, and that I've been wanting her to get for so long. Obviously, where does this lead for Tony Storm? Because we saw later on that night that she pretty much said that she has nothing. I do think Tony Storm, I don't really know. Like, I don't really think she's going a character change, because she's just so talented with her character work. Again, we'll just have to wait and see. But then we get to Mercedes Moné versus Mira Shirakawa. And I'm not going to give my overall thoughts on how I feel about her winning the title, because y'all already saw the other video. But I will say the match itself, obviously great. I mean, there are two great talents. Never going to deny Mercedes Moné in the ring. And I know Mira Shirakawa was always going to deliver a really good match. I'm just pissed off that once again, Mercedes Moné just wins another championship that to me she doesn't need, because it does nothing for anyone else in the women's division, especially now that she's won another title from AEW. So it's like, it's just annoying to continuing to see her continue to bury the women's division and no one else gets to elevate it from it. But moving on. Next is Bro Dito versus the Don Callis families, Okada and Takeshita. Again, another great tag team match. These two, again, just having some really good chemistry. I would say that for Okada and Takeshita, but Bro Dito always just, they're really surprising me. They really are, because like, I thought the team of Bandito and Brody King wouldn't work. I didn't think they were actually going to do well, because I feel like Brody King did well with guys like Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews, which I'm still waiting for when Buddy Matthews is cleared. But I will say this tag team with Bandito has actually been very good, and it's really helped out both Brody King and helped out Bandito, both as Ring of Honor World Champion and AEW Tag Team Champion. But as for Okada and Takeshita, they were unsuccessful. They walked out the losers. Takeshita is definitely going to turn on Okada soon, because of the fact that Okada hit him in the face, and instead of feeling sorry about it, he just smiled. So yeah, we're definitely getting that turn soon of Takeshita leaving the Don Callis family. Next up, we had Hangman Adam Page versus Samoa Joe for the AEW World Championship. I thought this was a solid match. I thought this did what it needs to do. It's one big high-flying dude that's always great with his aerial and grappling offense, and the Samoa Joe, who's just the complete powerhouse, who just knows how to beat you down completely. Like I said, this was good. Hangman Adam Page retained his championship, but then after the match, they just shake hands and celebrate. But then Samoa Joe clotheslines Hangman Adam Page, and the Ops turn heel. I did not expect that. I did not think they were actually going the route of turning the Ops into heels, because the fact that Samoa Joe announced retirement, I feel like they don't really want to try to have Samoa Joe be a heel, because I don't think anyone's going to try and boo Samoa Joe. But no, him, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Shibata all turned heel, and this is definitely going to continue on the feud with Hangman and Samoa Joe. I feel like Samoa Joe mostly is just there to give Hangman a feud to continue to increase his world title reign. But yeah, this is definitely going to add more things to it, and I'm actually looking forward to what's next between these two men. But then we get to the main event, which is Darby Allin versus Jon Moxley in an I Quit match. Wow. This was massively disappointing. I'm just going to say it right now. This is probably the most disappointed main event I think I've seen this entire year. And that's saying something, because we've had main events like John Cena versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania being, while not as bad as I think it was, just not good either, because of the whole Travis Scott thing. And then Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre at WrestlePalooza just being lifeless. I really thought that this match itself would be the absolute complete chaos control car crash that we were all expecting it to be. Because of these two men and I Quit match, these two are going to go way and over beyond. They're going to try and kill each other at that point. Because I thought we were going to see fire, like maybe Darby Allin tie John Moxley to a chair, pour gasoline on it, and try and light him up if he didn't say the words "I quit," or probably have a gun, like pull out the Glock, or maybe the strap to try and make it to where, like, John Moxley could say those two dreadful words. But instead of that happening, John Moxley just dominates throughout the entire match. Just him and the Death Riders just beating down Darby Allin senseless. And then they try to drown him. They pour a skewer in his fingernail. Claudio Castagnoli just yeets John Moxley over to the announce table. And then we just see the Death Riders trying everything to try and make Darby Allin say, "I quit," but he just doesn't. He just doesn't quit. Like, he just refuses to stay down, refuses to try and fight because he's so pro AEW and he wants to continue standing up for the company. And then the moment where they try to continue the whole beatdown, Sting returns, beats him down with the bat, and then Darby Allin does the exact same thing. He then hits the Scorpion Death Lock, or the Scorpion Death Drop with the flag, and then locks in the Scorpion Death Lock, and the match is over. Yeah, that was it. This felt very underwhelming. This didn't feel like this big, complete match where it was just going to be these two men trying to flat out make it to where none of them was alive anymore. Like, we were all expecting a complete bloodbath. Like, one of them to the point of blood being bursting out and blood just being poured all around the ring, but that's not what happened. This felt like just your very standard I Quit match you could possibly see in any other time in WWE. Hell, like the whole I Quit match between The Rock and Mankind at Royal Rumble 1999, where The Rock just beats down Mankind with multiple chair shots to the head while Mankind was handcuffed. To me, that spot was far more brutal than anything Darby Allin and John Moxley did. And the whole water thing, I've seen that before with Randy Orton and John Cena. So it's like, it's nothing new to me. Like, this match didn't feel special. It didn't feel like it was anything new to what we've seen before in the past. It was just there. It didn't light the world on fire like we all thought it was going to. Because again, with what these two are building up for weeks and weeks on Dynamite, with Darby Allin having a flamethrower and a fucking Molotov trying to blow the whole place up, you're expecting complete chaos after that. But we didn't get there. And it left a sour taste in my mouth after I was done with the pay-per-view. And just the whole celebration, it felt short. Like, it felt like they had cut and they ran out of time and they just were like, okay, let's just have Darby hold the flag and that's it. So, yeah, like I said earlier in this video, like, this whole pay-per-view itself made me feel like Revolution this year, where I thought it was a great show, but the main event to me is what brought it down. But it wasn't as dog shit as John Moxley and Adam Copeland was. It was just disappointing. I felt like it didn't kick to the next gear. I felt like there were things they could have done, but they didn't do. And just felt very basic. And therefore, I was very silent and very just kind of just eh. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Wrestledream. Like I said, overall, I thought it was a really good show. It's just the main event is the main true killer of this pay-per-view for me. But that's all I gotta say, man.